The illumination which instantly followed was unexpected. It startled me, causing a moment's check, from which I was just recovering when a voice said,
"Keep still."
There was a quality in the voice which I cannot describe. Not only an accent of command, but a something malicious, a something saturnine. It was a little guttural, though whether it was a man speaking I could not have positively said, but I had no doubt it was a foreigner. It was the most disagreeable voice I had ever heard, and it had on me the most disagreeable effect, for when it said,
"Keep still,"
I kept still. It was as though there was nothing else for me to do.
"Turn round."
I turned round, mechanically, like an automaton. Such passivity was worse than undignified. It was galling. I knew that well. I resented it with secret rage. But in that room, in that presence, I was invertebrate. When I turned, I found myself confronting someone who was lying in bed. At the head of the bed was a shelf. On the shelf was a small lamp which gave the most brilliant light I had ever seen. It caught me full in the eyes, having on me such a blinding effect that for some seconds I could see nothing. Throughout the whole of that strange interview, I cannot affirm that I saw clearly. The dazzling glare caused dancing specks to obscure my vision. Yet, after an interval of time, I did see something. And what I did see, I had rather have left unseen. I saw someone in front of me, lying in a bed. I could not at once decide if it was a man or a woman. Indeed, at first I doubted if it was anything human, but afterwards I knew it to be a man. For this reason, if for no other, that it was impossible such a creature could be feminine. The bedclothes were drawn up to his shoulders, only his head was visible. He lay on his left side, his head resting on his left hand, motionless, eyeing me as if he sought to read my inmost soul, and, in very truth, I believe he read it. His age I could not guess. Such a look of age I had never imagined. Had he asserted that he had been living through the ages, I should have been forced to admit that, at least, he looked it. And yet I felt that it was quite within the range of possibility that he was no older than myself. There was a vitality in his eyes which was startling. It might have been that he had been afflicted by some terrible disease, and it was that which had made him so supernaturally ugly. There was not a hair upon his face or head, but, to make up for it, the skin, which was saffron yellow, was an amazing mass of wrinkles. The cranium, and indeed the whole skull, was so small as to be disagreeably suggestive of something animal. The nose, on the other hand, was abnormally large. So extravagant were its dimensions, and so peculiar its shape, it resembled the beak of some bird of prey. A characteristic of the face, and an uncomfortable one, was that, practically, it stopped short at the mouth. The mouth, with its blubber lips, came immediately underneath the nose, and chin, to all extents and purposes, there was none. This deformity, for the absence of chin amounted to that, it was which gave to the face the appearance of something not human. That, and the eyes. For so marked a feature of the man were his eyes, that ere long it seemed to me that he was nothing but eyes. His eyes ran, literally, across the whole of the upper portion of his face. Remember, the face was unwontedly small, and the columna of the nose was razor-edged. They were long, and they looked out of narrow windows, and they seemed to be lighted by some internal radiance, for they shone out like lamps in a lighthouse tower. Escape them I could not, while, as I endeavoured to meet them, it was as if I shrivelled into nothingness. Never before had I realized what was meant by the power of the eye. They held me, enchained, helpless, spellbound. I felt that they could do with me as they would, and they did.